Well, welcome to the Bandon Pool presentation. This is going to be about a 10-minute slideshow. I'm just going to kind of go through it, read the slides. You all should have our handbills that we put on the tables. There are also letters of support that you can either sign and give back to us today, or you can take it home and rewrite it in your own words. Or you can go to our website, bandonpool.com, and that'll be on the slide at the end, just so you don't have to memorize it right now, but it's pretty simple. Bandonpool.com, there is a tab on there for letters of support. All right, so I'm gonna get started. Okay, our mission statement is the mission of the Bandon Community Pool Development Corporation, doing business as Bandon Pool, is to build and maintain a community swimming pool that meets or exceeds the safety, health, fitness, educational, and recreational needs of the city of Bandon and surrounding communities. We are a 501c3, which is a nonprofit corporation, so that's why we have that big long name. That's what we filed as a nonprofit, and we're doing business as Bandon Pool to make it simple. Bandon Pool will provide much needed indoor recreation for our community members and visitors. The Bandon Pool will provide wellness opportunities that contribute to physical and mental health. The Bandon Pool will provide life-saving swim lessons and enrichment activities for our youth. And the Bandon Pool will provide rehabilitation facilities for our neighbors to recover from injury or illness. The Bandon Pool will also provide competitive swimming activities for athletes who want to compete in individual sports. And we will keep spending local. Currently, many community members travel to Coquille, Coos Bay, and North Bend for swimming activities. And visitors to our pool, or to our community, can enjoy a healthy indoor activity while visiting our area. Our goal is to start construction by year-end 2026. It's a very daunting goal, but we are determined to do it. Our board of directors: Malia Brewster, president; Dustin McCaleb, vice president; Colleen Welch, treasurer; Sally Weymouth, secretary interim, that's me; Cleone Reed, director at large, up in the front there in the red; Christine Bentian, director at large. Christine is traveling for business and couldn't be here today. So we're going to start right out with some of the nitty-gritty. We get this question asked a lot of times. Financial state of our pool as of December 31st, 2023. At First Community, we have over $46,000 in the First Community Bank or credit union. We also have CDs at Edward Jones and a money market account totaling $582,550.29, and that's all as of December 31st. We have tax returns from 2006 onward available by appointment. From 2019 to 2022, the tax returns are on our website, and you can go to bandonpool.com and go to financials. I can't remember exactly what it says, but you click on the tab it'll be obvious. Click on that tab and it will show you all the different tax returns from 2019 to 2022. And any financial records that you guys want to look at, you can reach out to us at bandonpool@gmail.com and send us a request for an appointment to review our books and records, and we'd be happy to accommodate you for that. So as many of you know, we did have some land that was adjacent to City Park on the south side, just south of the ball field that's right there on the south side of City Park. The land was purchased with the assumption that the city would annex into the park, and that no longer became a consideration. It required significant infrastructure investment for roads, water, and sewage. Land zoning had to change from residential to commercial recreation. We didn't really need 10 acres. It was a 10-acre parcel, and we didn't really need 10 acres for a pool. And then the adjacent landowners approached the Bandon Pool Board with a package option, and we were able to fetch a higher price. than what it was purchased for, and so the net profits on that sale were $155,000. So a good investment actually for the pool. What we need a place to build the pool. We need community involvement and volunteers. I see many wonderful people here that might be interested in doing that. We need people, volunteers to serve on the board. We are an all-volunteer board. No one is paid. We do this out of the goodness of our hearts and wanting to have a better option for our community members to stay healthy. We need letters of support. We did a feasibility study in 2016. A feasibility study is required for grant writing, and we are currently looking to have that updated, and part of that is having letters of support. So there are letters of support on the tables. If you didn't get one, we have more up here at the front, and you can, I think I already said this, but you can write them, yourself, use that and give it back to us today, whatever you want to do. We need more money. A bare bones indoor pool is estimated to cost upwards of $8 million. We need at least half of that before grant writers can help us reach the breaking ground goal. And we need partnerships with local businesses and organizations, which is part of what the new board has been working on since the beginning of last year. A little history. I know this is Mayor Mary's expertise, so this is just kind of a snapshot. I'm sure Mary could give us more detail if we need it. Well, we're going to go back to 2005. So in 2005, the Bandon Pool Board reformed as a 501c3. And any donations, gifts to the Bandon Pool Board or to the Bandon Pool are tax-deductible donations. In 2008, Bandon worked with the school. They had discussions with the school district to put the pool on school property. Geologic soil tests were done to the tune of $20,000. Pool architectural designs were drawn up and developed at $70,000. However, the recession hit in 2008 and other issues had brought this effort to a halt. Let me get over here. Hang on a minute, folks. I'm not familiar with PCs, so this is taking me a while. There we go. So in 2010, 10-acre parcel was purchased adjacent to the park with the hopes that this would become annexed into the park. And as we already discussed, that didn't happen. In 2018, there was a bequest for $2.5 million that was made so long as the pool was put in City Park. That didn't happen. We had lots of residential support for it, but the pool ended up not happening, and the bequest was lost. I should say it ended up not happening in the park. In 2020, the board made a decision to sell, as we discussed in the last slide. We sold the land, and then COVID-19 hit shortly thereafter, and everything had been put on hold until 2023. And in 2023, beginning of last year, we reformed as a new board. So pretty much, there are a few people that were on the board before. I am a new member. I joined the board because I wanted to know why there was a lot of negativity around the issue of a pool. And I found out that there's really no reason to have any kind of negativity about it because there's nothing but positive and good to come from it. For our pool, our vision is to have a solar heated indoor pool available year-round. It will consist of 6 lanes and be 25 meters in length to meet requirements for swimming competitions. There will be a therapy pool for physical therapy and improved access to healthy community activities. And how will the pool be funded? Good question. We have existing funds, as we already discussed, from previous fundraising efforts, including the sale of the land. The board has had communications with companies with ties to Bandon for funding land and construction expenses, as well as and we have also developed a list of top taxpayers Thank you, Mayor Mary, for that too. And so top taxpayers in Coos County to reach out to. The board keeps its expenses low, and we believe in complete transparency of financial records. And again, all of our most recent tax returns are available on the website, and you can make an appointment with us if you want to dig deeper. How will the pool be managed after it's built? The board of directors will continue to provide operational oversight of the pool, and funds will be raised in the following ways: memberships and daily passes, fundraising events, program classes, local sponsorships, corporate sponsorships, competitive swimming events, and grants. And that's it. So I want to thank everyone for attending. bandonpool.com, bandonpool@gmail.com. That's how you can reach out to us. If you know us, talk to us on the street, on the beach, wherever you happen to run into us. Our board meetings are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. upstairs in the Ty-Core building and above Coast Community Health Center. And we are looking for people with board experience, with fundraising experience, with business experience, and just general enthusiasm for having a pool. We need more support in that way to get more people out there, to reach out to the people that we need to get funding and land. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
We had leased the land from the school. The school has had other things come up, such as bonds that they've had to work with, so they've decided not to, at this point, work with the pool. So that's when we had I think then we had purchased our own land, yeah.
So that's not an option anymore at all?
We can definitely go back to the school. That option is not out of the question. We do need to reach out to them and see what they feel. I know that they did have a lot of bonds that they were not able to take on any other things, and that had to do with, I think, the busing barn and a few other things. But yeah, we definitely are willing to reach back out to the school. There's a lot of opportunity to work with them, especially with the programs that we could get through the school.
Yes, in the blue.
I have two questions. One, at one time, that pool was going to, the kids from the high school would have access to that pool so that there could be a swim team at the high school.
Yes.
You didn't address that at all. Is that
At the very beginning of the slideshow, there was a slide that said that we are going to encourage, we do want to work with the school district and surrounding schools to be able to have swim practice, swimming meets. Yes. Yeah.
And then the other
Part two.
question is, do you have a place in mind for the land? I mean, you know, you must have certain stipulations, so are you zeroing in on a certain area where the...
We have looked at a number of different locations around town, and that's where we're at in the process right now, is prioritizing who we want to talk to about that.
So it won't be any place within the city park,
No.
or within the surrounding area of the city park?
It could be. We just have to find the empty space. Yeah, but not within City Park.
Well, I'd like to explain a little bit more about the school district issue.
Okay.
I think that was politics, basically, and
Mary, do you want to come up? Working on. We did a feasibility study back in 2016, and obviously we need to update that, and we're working on getting some connections to help us with that. But ballpark estimate is between 8 and 12 million. And pool plans, sorry? Oh, the running cost after. We haven't actually tackled that number yet. We're just kind of focusing on construction costs right now. We do plan to have, so say our focus is on raising $8 million. We will have a 10% fund set aside for ongoing maintenance and problems that might come up, equipment breakdown, so forth. And so our real goal would be 8.8 million as opposed to just 8 million. So that's the target to get started with. Mhm. Okay. Did that answer your question, sort of?
Sort of, yeah. It
Okay.
just, my understanding of one of the issues that has been ongoing with this is in case this goes forward.
So, yeah, so the right,
Who's on the hook for
right,
keeping this going.
right.
And
As a,
one is not a real stable entity for ongoing civic expense. So I'm just curious.
yeah, right. No, we definitely are aware of that, and the Bandon Pool Board will continue on. You know, that's why we're encouraging other people to get involved, so we, you know, maybe something we haven't thought of, somebody will bring it to our attention. But we have considered all of that, and we know it's going to be ongoing. The board will continue to run it. It may be a different iteration of the board, different people running it by that time, by the time, you know, we get to breaking ground, you know. So that is definitely something that we're looking at and considering in our fundraising.
For example, maybe 15 years ago, the city of Bandon had $600,000 earmarked in our one of the urban renewal districts for a pool. But that would be to help with construction. We had never had any intention of being part of the operation. But right now, we just spent $500,000 for a parking lot down on Fillmore and First Street. So we don't have that kind of money, but eventually we could. And a pool is something that the city could get involved in through urban renewal funding. Also, about 3 or 4 months ago, before the holidays, I emailed Mike Kaiser, who is the owner of Bandon Dunes Golf Resort, and asked him if he had ever considered building a community pool. Well, actually what he wanted to talk about was buying the old golf course and turning it into a golf course, and the city now owns that property. So, but he did say,
Cut him a deal.
he said, what he said was, if the pool was far enough along, he would consider assisting. So I think that we need to keep in the back of your minds that Mike Kaiser might possibly, if it gets to, I mean, he's watched the different iterations and nothing's happened, essentially. I mean, there's a lot happening, but not the kind of happening that he would like to see. So if it got to the point where you actually had the money for at least half down, I would imagine that at least I could go to him and ask if he would be willing to invest. But he did say he didn't turn it down. I think he would be willing to invest, but he'd like to see it further along.
That is awesome. Did you have a comment? Oh, this lady here in the black and white plaid.
I'm new, so I don't know if this was ever brought up before, but is there a reason why you haven't gone through the YMCA? Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
She's asking if there's a reason why we haven't gone through the YMCA.
Yeah.
No, there's not a reason, and that's a great idea.
The reason why I ask is I come from an area that has a lot of canals, and we're talking they are deep canals.
Mhm.
And what they did to get their YMC going, they built it near a school.
Mhm.
The school got grants. Every third grader had to take a swimming lesson.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they got started with their YMCA. And
Awesome.
I know that their grant, I know him personally that writes grants for the YMCA. I
We'd
know
love to
he would
have you on our
help.
board.
I just thought, you know, they are amazing what YMCA has done, so.
We can look into a lot of different grants. We've got the Silver Sneakers program that we can look into. We've got the YMCA programs. There are also a lot of programs because we are on the coast for lifeguarding, for water safety, for swim lessons. We are not able to reach out to those grants yet until we reach a halfway point. We as a board, we can look at all of this. No matter what, we do need to continue raising money, and we do need to reach that point. Once we reach halfway point, then I think the possibilities are endless. We can go anywhere from there. We can reach out to, like we said, even Kaiser's probably willing to work with us. We need to prove that we can get that halfway point, and then we can start reaching out to those grants. There are endless,
All grants
and maybe we could be a little bit short of halfway, but we do need to have at least close to halfway to start looking into that, to be taken seriously to start achieving that goal.
So I was here for the last pool committee, and they brought in a pool expert one day, and he made 2 points. He said the success of the pool depends upon building their kids. He said the kids are the future of any successful pool. His second point was that that wading pools make money and lap pools lose money. That wading pools bring in the kids, that bring us in the retirees. You can make a lot of money. It could become a profit center if you build a wading pool. His suggestion was to build a wading pool first to bring in the money and then to go to a lap pool. And I see that on your plans. You have a lap pool, then a wading pool. So I thought I would throw that out there.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to, I think Newport had just built a pool. We're going to go ahead and talk with a few people that were involved in that process as well. Then we can also find out kind of their running costs, their yearly running costs of that new constructed pool, work with them. And they may agree with that a wading pool. We do have some flexibility in some of our plans, and we want to make the correct decisions and the right decisions. And so by bringing in the community and getting all of your guys' input and support is what's needed to go forward. So if a wading pool is what we need, then we can start there. We are willing to work in steps, build something, and then build it when, the next year. We can do phases. We do not have to build a $20 million facility right away, but we can start somewhere, and maybe a wading pool. But yeah, we definitely have some flexibility. Our goal, I do know, is that we do have a lot of seniors in the community, and they are really wanting that lap pool. So I think that's kind of where we started. But if it doesn't cost you too much more, maybe we can do both. We do have an architect that's going to be getting us some more renderings and drawings and some quotes on different phases that we can do.
Fine, and people swim laps. Then you have free swim, it's a pool. There's no, it has to be 2 pools about it. It's just how you designate the time, how you mark the bottom of the pool. Seriously,
Yeah,
you have
I think
to.
the wading pool is more the depth of it, more, not so deep.
That's just
It's more of a comment that a lap pool is the same as like a free swim pool. It doesn't have to be 2 separate pools. I think the remark before about the wading pool, those are 2 different pools. Those are 2 different depths. So different temperatures. Yeah, one's more geared for children. A lap pool can be geared for both.
I think the person that Chip just referred to is Ralph Moore, M-O-H-R. He's a master swimmer of Coos County. He was a swim coach at Coos Bay for many, many years. And he's...
And he is extremely interested in having Bandon build a swimming pool. He came to a city council meeting last year, and it was his request when I contacted Mike Kaiser a few months ago. It was Ralph Moore who contacted me, and he said, I would be willing to help anybody in Bandon who is going to try and develop a swimming pool. And he is probably the master swimming pool person, definitely in southwestern Oregon. And it's M-O-H-R, Ralph, and I think
We will definitely contact him, and Cleone got that down on video, so we won't forget. And if you guys could, there's actually a microphone over here that Jerry was speaking from earlier, and it would be really helpful, especially for the folks in the back, if you have questions, to go ahead and go up there. So who had their hand up?
It could be irrelevant to the topic at hand, but I'm just curious if what would the schedule be like in terms of being open and operating? Would it be a co-field type thing where it's Labor Day to Memorial Day, or would it be a year-round type of idea?
I couldn't really hear everything, but Jolene is nodding her head.
So the schedule of the pool is not going to, we are not planning on having a coquille schedule where it's only open certain times. We want this to be a year-round facility. We've got elements all year round. So we want it to be an enclosed facility, and we want it to be available year-round.
Yay.
Thank you. Patty?
Do you know, why couldn't you have some, it doesn't have to be totally enclosed. I mean, I've been to resorts where they have the wading pool and it's open, and then if there was elements, you could come in and under the cover.
Right.
I think to totally enclose it, it starts getting too.
That would be a consideration when we get to the point of design and construction, yeah, for sure. Yes.
You also could check with the North Bend Municipal Pool to find out about how much it costs for maintenance and everything.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of us ladies that go over there at least 2 times a week to swim in the lap part, or they have the part that's not for laps. So it's very convenient. They also have glass sliding doors on the south end that open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
you could
Yes.
include
Definitely
something like that.
consideration in the design of the pool, the building. And yes, we have reached out to North Bend. I actually went to City Hall and asked them to send me all that information, so we have it, yes. Yeah.
Indicated that they might donate land for the pool if the project is approved.
That is a possibility, yes. We have, we had a conversation with them, and they were very receptive to the idea, but given that it hasn't been approved yet, that's, it's in our pocket of people that we're reaching out to. Yeah, and,
Several years ago, I was active with the pool committee, and my wife and I met with representatives at other pools on the coast.
yes,
And it's amazing the number of pools that there are, including Reedsport.
yes,
But Newport has an amazing facility,
Right.
and they're happy to talk to us to give us ideas.
okay,
We don't have to reinvent
yes,
all of it.
absolutely not,
There's
yeah.
a lot of wonderful things. Medford has got a brand new one.
Yeah.
That might be a good contact as
We've
well.
also, I just started looking at, up in Tillamook County, they have a new recreation district, and they have recently broke ground for a new pool up there, so we'll be reaching out to them as well.
Great.
Yeah, thank you. You don't want to join the board again, do you?
Well, I was on a couple, 3 years, reorganized all the paperwork from back when Mary was talking about, it was all in a cardboard box.
Right, right. We have that cardboard box.
Yeah, well, I tried to get a little more organized, but in the process, I was able to realize how long this has been going on
Yeah.
and how much, exactly what Mary said, politics
Yes.
got in the middle. But now you've got some brand new people, new
Right.
blood.
Yeah.
And in answer to your question, possibly.
Yeah, okay, awesome, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do you know if the majority or all of these pools are city sponsored and funded by the city, or at least maintained by the city? I mean, I think it's an unusual thing that Bandon doesn't feel the need that they need to support that pool.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it takes, hopefully that parking lot will be self-sufficient and they
Yeah.
will get their 500,000 back by
Yeah.
charging people to park close to Old Town so they don't have to walk 2 blocks.
Right.
But I just wondered if most of these, even smaller cities, are at least, is the city supporting it in some way financially,
Right.
taking some responsibility for it?
So far, the pools we have been looking at locally are municipally supported, and Helen, you
I
probably
can-
can address that?
Yeah, I can address that in terms of how Mingus Park, that's where I typically swim, but they're down right now, they need a new boiler.
Stand up.
Here, Jerry has a mic over there, and if you can get to that.
The way they operate is they have a 501(c) also, and they're mostly foundation supported, but they also are supported by the city of Coos Bay to do their maintenance, repairs, upkeep, chemicals, and the city itself takes care of all that going forward. I think the city pays the employees, they're paid through Cardinal Services over in Coos Bay. And currently, they need $115,000 for a boiler, but that's another topic. And then, as you know, the North Bend pool, they passed a levy to have that pool brought back into operation, and the city and the levy are responsible for that. But I like that hybrid concept of the foundation and the city working together. I think that's pretty ideal. I know the city has less financial burden than the foundation does at the Mingus Park Pool. Another thing I'd like to tell you is that the Mingus Park Pool is open year-round, and it's an entirely outdoor pool. And some of us are feeling really pale and faded right now because we have to swim in North Bend, which is all enclosed. That would save a huge amount of money to have some kind of removable cover or something less expensive than an all-enclosed pool.
What's the wind like though over at Mingus Park?
We like it, but I'm an outdoor swimmer. I'm an open water swimmer. So those of us who swim there, we're a little hardier bunch, I believe. But when North Bend was closed, we had people coming over, whether they hated it or not, I'm not sure. But that's another way of looking at it. I think indoors would probably be more. It would be more.
Bandon, you almost always have wind. When
Yeah,
you
I
don't,
think
it's
that's
like rain
probably
or
more.
wind.
And then I'm also very good friends with Ralph Moore, because I'm a master swimmer also. And Ralph has enthusiasm coming out of every pore in his body. So as much as you can keep him involved, that's great. He can be a bit much, but he's also a fantastic motivator and a fantastic coach and a really good swimmer. So between noon and 3:30 because of staffing. They cannot be open on Sundays because of staffing. Newport cannot be open every day because of staffing.
That's a
Thank
good
you.
job to be a lifeguard.
Any more questions? Comments? Yes, sir. Yes.
During the time that I was helping, another gentleman and I met with a grant writer up at the mill. He's a grant writer from Eugene, helps with the theater in North Bend, but also the mill. Do you have now any connection with grant writers who could maybe help guide the
We would
process?
need some help with that, definitely. We have, reached out to some folks who are seeking, to help us with that, but we don't have anybody in mind just yet.
I'd be happy
And a
to
few
meet with you
volunteers,
about that.
yeah. We do have a few volunteers too, so.
Okay.
yeah.
This young lady is going to be critical.
Yes.
Sorry, but
That's who I'm thinking of, but I don't want to put her on the spot.
I'll help you.
no problem.
We can put her on the spot.
She's on the spot.
I know too much.
Yeah, you do.
Now you.
No, we
I
can
know
have,
enough to
we
be
can
hard.
have some fun too.
Too much to be, I'm dangerous.
All right. Anyone else?
What you're doing is wonderful.
Here today, being so supportive and asking really great, intelligent questions. Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry.
I'm just curious if we approach the guy at the golf course, what's his name?
Kaiser.
Kaiser, if he would say, I'll earmark this amount of money to put us to the halfway point, and if we can get a grant with that stipulation.
That could be.
And
We
then bring
have.
in the school at the same time.
Yeah, we have reached out to a contact of the foundation and they've indicated that they support the project. So we just learned of this 2 weeks ago. So just so everyone knows, we're kind of in a, everything in parts are moving and this is all kind of, starting up again. And we've taken a year to kind of get ourselves together, and now we're bringing it to you guys to hear public comments, and I'm very, very happy with everything that we're hearing today. We do, on that note, we do have a pledge form on our website, again, at bandonpool.com, where you can go and pledge a certain amount of money or land or whatever if we reach a certain earmark, yeah. So that's available to everybody. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know there is a child base right now from 7 to 12 to 14 years old of really energetic, athletic kids that by the time this pool happens, we're going to have tons of workers for those positions. I see it. All these kids are going to be excited to do it, especially if it's indoors. And what better way to, grow our community than have the kids actually working in our community. That's what we all need anyway. And one last thing I wanted to, just talking about levies, the city helping all this stuff, is it the board's intention for this to be a tax situation to the citizens or private donations?
Our goal is to keep it private. That's why we had formed the 501c3. We will look into the other suggestions that we've had brought to our attention today, but our goal is to keep this tax-free. South of where I live, there's huge communities now. We need to go and we have that feasibility study that we are updating. I don't know, Mary, do you know what the population is at the moment?
I think what we're seeing is a lot of these homes that are being built by as for second homes. They're either second homes or they're vacation rental dwellings, of which we have 65 or 70 in town. So the population hasn't grown near like they expected. When I was on the city council back in the late 70s and the 80s, at that time Ray Kelly was the mayor and he projected there'd be 10,000 people inside the city limits within 10 years. Well, that never materialized. What's happened is over the years, the jobs have vanished, the logging, the fishing, the jobs have gone and the families have gone and they've been replaced by 1 or 2 people households. So the idea that the population is swelled, the demographics has changed, but not so much the population. I think the population's about 3,600 and 10 years ago, maybe it was 3,100. So it's not a big surge in population.
Do you know what percentage of people in Bandon are retired?
Actually, her question brought up another point. We understand that there are 400 vacant homes in Bandon. And that means that I know of 2 homes, a home that I was raised in across from the cheese factory. We sold it 10 years ago for $125,000 and the people turned around and sold it to some people in Medford for $439,000, which is another problem. But as you understand the price of housing. But these people are only here once in a while. 2 doors down from me, they're only here once in a while. So we do have, while we have a lot of retired people, we have a lot of people that are just wanting, they maybe live in Medford, Roseburg, wherever, they want a second home in Bandon. And that's what's happening. And of course, when you have second homes, they're not supporting your community. They're not part of the pool board. They're just people who come over here as weekend warriors. And we appreciate that, you know, that they are buying property here, but it's not helping the population or many of the people who are moving here are retired.
And I think a lot of people that I have talked to, you know, that's just me personally, that maybe weekend warriors or visiting Bandon have expressed that if there was a pool here, it would be wonderful because they would have somewhere to go on a day where it's cold, windy, wet, and they want to get out and get exercise, but the wind's, you know, blowing 40 and the rain's blowing sideways, and they could go to the pool and go for a swim. Tim in the back. Oh. I guess Tim.
Are you ready to
We
go
have
in
6
and-
board members right now, and we need fundraisers. We need help, definitely need help with the fundraising aspect of this. So if anybody has experience fundraising, grant writing, any of that, please come forward.
So with fundraising, we also have just rebranded a lot of our logo. We really want to express to everybody that this is a new partnership, new leadership, new goals. We need to go forward. And to go forward, we do need to get money. So yes, fundraising is the top of our goals coming forward. We needed to rebrand all of our logos, our merchandise, everything needs to be matching. We need to go out there professional. We need to have professional brochures and handbills to go out there to fundraise. So we are in that completion stage at the moment. So I would be on the lookout for some fundraising from us very soon.
Cow Creek recently, the Cow Creek Indian tribe recently gave money for recreational purposes, and they gave money to Coos Bay to build 2 new baseball fields. We've got our Coquille Indian tribe here, just saying.
Yeah, we do have a list of a lot of potential partners that we are going to reach out to, and any ideas, we need all the ideas and having the merchandise, having our frequently asked questions to go out there was definitely needed. And like I said, we're in that part where we've got printed material. We've got people that are willing to go out there and start getting our name out there into the community again as this new partnership.
Houses here for the last 35 years. we're more than willing to support and do whatever we can. I can reach out to everybody. I know every single, I can add more money to our sports programs. We can donate. There's all kinds of different things I can do. I have my finger in everything. So,
That's wonderful.
so,
Thank you, Jake. Yeah.
But I've never heard about any of this.
So that's why we're here today, because
Yeah,
we're a
so
whole new
I've never-
organization. Yeah.
He actually invited me here today. And,
Yes, Bo.
Yeah, thanks, Bo. So, yeah, I'm.
Bo is one of our ardent supporters and volunteers.
Yeah, so I'm definitely open to supporting and
Awesome.
being a pool guy or whatever.
Okay, we need you to come
I
to
know
a meeting.
I know everybody.
Dig a really deep hole.
Equipment.
It's actually very interesting to say that. We have had a lot of business owners that have volunteered their services. Once you guys get to a groundbreaking point, we would love to do the paving in the front. We'd love to build the wall for the bricks. We would love to do this. We can't add all of that money or those donations in yet until we get halfway, but we definitely, that is something we can look into and reaching out to everybody. We've got people that are willing to volunteer a lot of their services. We can go that way.
Actually, if you're gonna send letters of support, don't send them to the city council. Send them to the pool committee. The pool committee is the one who's going to be going after these grants. And grantors need to know that the people of the community support it. As I've explained before, tax rate in the state. And the reason that we do is because when the property taxes, when ballot measure, I think it was 45 and 50, when they locked in the tax rate 20 years ago, we had a tax rate of 46 cents. The average in the state ranges between $4 and $6. Myrtle Point, $7.99. They have tons of money. If we had a tax rate anywhere close to anybody else in this county, in this state, we would have the kind of money that we could help support. So the only way that we would have money would be through urban renewal. And then you'd have to be further along before we could expend urban renewal dollars. Plus, we're trying to refurbish the urban renewal funds, and we're not going to be charging for the public parking lot. Sounds like a good idea, but that's not the business that we're in. We're not going to be charging people to park, to come and shop.
Catholic Church is building a new church, and the capital campaign is very comprehensive, and I would suggest that you create that and share with you what we've done. Out of 85 donors, we've raised $2 million.
That's awesome.
We're almost there. We only need about
We would like you to come to a board meeting and talk to us. Yeah.
And it's exhaustive in terms of raising capital, right? It's a
Right.
campaign. And so like what this gentleman was talking about, that's an in-kind donation.
Yes.
So, I think you could start gathering all of that.
Yes.
And then you look at pledges versus donations and would these grants be okay with like a 5-year pledge, or how does that work? And
Right.
so I think there's a lot of variations to a capital campaign that I think would be really good. You probably need to establish a committee,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And then also kind of targeting your top donors.
Yes. And that's where
so
we're at right now, is kind of prioritizing.
Right,
and
and I actually think you're in a better position than the